Yeah. Y'all watching the Grind Ethics Mixtape Show, and I'm your host, Victory, BX Supreme Promoter. Basically, you know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Basically. What up, y'all? What's going on? Thank y'all for watching Grind Ethics Mixtape Show. Anybody that like this episode, I'll be very grateful if anybody share, like, comment. But when you do share, when you do subscribe, whatever, ring the bell and all that good stuff. All right. And oh yeah, just to let y'all know, right now I'm online with my brother, the founder of UFD, the Youth Empowerment or Nonprofit Organization, UFD. Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Also, if you like this episode, I'll be very grateful if anyone could hit me with a friendly donation. Nothing crazy. The link is Grind Ethics Cash App. Grind Ethics Cash App. All right. Right now, I'm here with my brother, the founder of the youth organization UFD. What's going on, my brother? Hello?
I'm all right. I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah. Yo, I'm bad with names. Yo, what's your name again, man?
My name is Dante S. Mitchell, better known as Infalmate Don X Dikivu.
No doubt. Thank you for being on the Grind Ethics Mixtape Show, man. Finally got you here, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm bad, brother, man. I don't want you to think I was ducking you or nothing. I've just been involved in a few projects and just, handling life and stuff like that. So it wasn't anything you did. It's just me, have to be more on point with my affairs that I have going on. I don't have an assistant, so I do most of the stuff that I do on my own.
Hey, that's cool. That's okay, yo. That's definitely okay. So what made you wanna, start your own youth foundation?
Yeah, that's kind of a misunderstanding. People think that UFD is a youth foundation. It isn't.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people get that impression because the main target of or the main demographic that I work with are youth.
Okay.
I started UFD when I was incarcerated back in 2008, and I initially did so as a positive alternative to gangs for young people at that time. I just got tired of seeing young people coming through the prison system and getting caught up in the gang. So I felt like I provided or offered them a positive alternative that gives them the same sense of brotherhood and family, loyalty, etc., that they'll be more likely to choose the element that would actually be beneficial as opposed to them being involved in an organization that would lead them to self-destruction. But I expanded upon the concept of UFD because UFD at that time was just a subdivision of a larger organization that I had founded called the New African Ujima Dynasty, and that was the primary organization. UFD was just supposed to be like the like the youth section or the street section, like dealing with those young people who came from where I came from, the streets.
Or like a youth division, something like that.
Yeah, you could just for lack of a better term. But I merged the two organizations together conceptually, so there wasn't no separation. And the whole idea behind UFD, even prior to me merging it, was just to create a fraternal association. I'm not sure if you're familiar or your subscribership is familiar, but back in the late 1800s to early 1900s, after slavery, Black people organized two basic institutions to really move forward with their development in this country. First, we all know, was the church. Many Black people formed significant numbers of churches that were able to pool their resources together. And a lot of these churches opened up banks, insurance companies, etc. But there was also a corresponding institution that was also doing the same thing that has now kind of went out of style, and that fraternal orders or fraternal association. If you're familiar like with the Elks or refiners or the true reformers, etc. These are all fraternal groups. These are basically groups of individuals who believe that, they're brotherhood and sisterhood. They have a fraternal or family-like structure, and they band together for the purposes of achieving some common purpose. So those types of organizations, fraternal associations, rivaled the churches, but they were more secular. So you didn't have to believe in any specific religious belief or denomination to be a part of them. Different fraternal organizations or fraternal orders have their various rights and they have their various rites and rituals, etc. But for the most part, they were secular. So if you happen to be, a Baptist or Methodist or whatever the case may be, whatever denomination you were, that wasn't their concern. Their concern is, well, what can we do, to advance this common cause? Now, those type of organizations, for whatever reason, have went out in favor. We haven't seen a lot of those type of organizations among Black people for a long time. I think maybe the Nation of Islam is probably one of the last strongholds of fraternal type organizations, because the Nation of Islam is a fraternity. Then you have organizations like most of the fraternal organizations, I would say, starting like after the demise of the Black Panthers, began to become gangs. So the Crips, the Bloods, the Gangster Disciples, Latin Kings, these are all fraternal groups. So I would say, I'm not going to say that there's a direct relationship between those old fraternal organizations and the gangs, but there's definitely some corresponding characteristics that show that, we still organize in the community, but these organizations kind of devolved into like gang banging and criminal activity, etc. So now you got these so-called, street organizations that are heavily involved in criminal activity, which is kind of wreaking havoc in our communities. But because I understand that history and I myself was a part of that culture, I realized that it's not all bad. A lot of those groups have it down packed when it comes to unity, loyalty, love, etc. But there are those corrupt, there are those corrupt facets of the street organizations or so-called gangs that kind of take away their power and their ability to actually uplift and empower the community. So I created UFD to try to bring back the more positive, traditional element of fraternal associations that were lost to our community, to do what those fraternal organizations were doing back in those time periods along with the churches, and that was spurring Black economic development. These organizations were very vital and instrumental in helping Black people amass capital for the purposes of creating businesses. Some of the first insurance companies, Black insurance companies, first Black banks, farms, and small businesses were financed through fraternal organization. This is something that Black people don't remember. And
like the Prince Hall Freemasons, in a way, something like that. Not to interrupt you, but yeah, because when you talking about organization, you kind of that kind of popped in my head, like the Prince Hall Freemasons.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah,
you're not saying anything wrong. That is exactly what I'm talking about. The Prince Freemasons is different, in terms of their rites and rituals, but it's the same shit.
Yeah,
these are all fraternal groups, and the aim of UFD, however, as a fraternal organization, isn't necessarily, just like coming together to have a lodge and we go there on the weekends and chill and, we pull our resources together to buy, some recreational places to be. Nah, our fraternal association is specifically focused on bridging the racial wealth gap in America. There's a huge racial wealth gap that exists in America that I believe has led to the social breakdown of our communities, and we need to find ways to kind of to get a handle of that. And I think that we have to get to the bag. Like, my main focus, like I was saying last night in one of my lives, is that we need to get to the bag. We need to create ways for people in our communities to improve their financial status.
Of course.
Because anything else is just bullshit, honestly. Like, you're not going to have true social justice. You're not going to have true racial justice in capitalist America if you don't have money. And I've had this debate with other, leaders in our communities, and it's not even an outright smackdown debate where we're actually talking about these things like you and I. It's like subtle. I'll bring up certain things, and there are people who kind of like, shoo me away, so to speak. They're like, yeah, but that's not really, because they're already heavily involved in their own methodology.
Yeah, exactly.
Strategies. But the truth is the truth. Because let's look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to change some political policy, some public policy, right? Let's say one of the big ones that had impacted me was they call the raise the age law. There were people who were proponents of raising the age of criminal prosecution from 16 to 18. And that's because they felt that based upon current science, that juvenile brains don't fully develop until the age of 25. So between those ages when we're kids to the time that we become 25 years old, the evidence shows that younger people tend to engage in more reckless behavior. They tend to be more impulsive. They tend not to think long term. They tend not to look at the long term consequences of their actions because they're genetically, biologically predisposed to those tendencies. That being the case, it's much harder for them to control themselves when they grow up in a community where all they see is crime and violence. They're gonna gravitate to those things because they don't fully have the capacity, to control whatever impulses that are gonna lead them to embrace that lifestyle. So there were proponents who say, we need to raise the age. You can't treat a 16-year-old like you would treat an adult because a 16-year-old is not as responsible. I mean, genetically, they're not as responsible. It's not a situation where you just kind of overlooking their behavior because, you just want to be nice or because they're kids. It's because genetically, their brains are not fully developed to completely grasp the severity of their actions. This is not to say that they should be held accountable. It's just to say that you should hold them to the same punishment. So the raise the age law was something that a lot of people were trying to push, and they were fighting for. However, with any sustained political action, whether or not that's preventing police brutality, to stop redlining, to stop racial discrimination, whatever public policies you want to change, is going to require mass sustained political action. It needs to be people who are on the ground, who are lobbying state lawmakers, that are out there every day, getting people to sign petitions, who are informing the public about the need for these public policies. At the end of the day, what's that take? That takes money.
Yeah.
Because you can't do a job like that 24 hours a day when you got bills to pay.
You got family feed and all that.
That's a fact. So if you don't have the resources to engage in sustained political action, like some of these major corporations do, because they hire lobbyists to lobby for laws that are going to be advantageous to their business.
Like real estate, right? like a lot of real estate developers. They connect with themselves with a lot of politicians, and on the dark side, the politicians do get a little under the table money from the developers. I think that's why the New York housing situation, no politicians are trying to do nothing about it. But that's my theory. I don't know, but that's.
No, it's not a theory. It's a freaking fact. When it comes to poor black and brown people, you're going to see that there's less of a response politically to the interests that we have. This government doesn't necessarily operate off of what is moral. It operates off of who got the bag, and then we deal with the moral.
Who got the bag? By a politician. That's what you're basically saying. By a politician.
Yeah, we're not going to call it that. Ethics laws and all this other stupid shit. But yeah, let's call it spade, my brother. not able to get public policies passed that are advantageous to, for example, stopping youth gang violence. So we see it heavy in the Bronx. We see it heavy in Brooklyn. We see it heavy in upstate New York. We see it heavy in all these different communities where you got young black and brown kids killing each other as a long race in Chicago, in the West, the Midwest, down south, because there's really no incentive, financially nor economically, to stop these kids from doing that. Because in fact, it is not in the best interest of affluent white people to empower poor and black kids to compete with their children. Let's keep it honest. I'm gonna create public policies to help your kids better compete with my kids. So therefore, my kids are gonna have less access to the bigger plate. They're gonna have to share wealth and power in this country with black and brown kids. Like, I give a shit. Now, of course, when they're on TV, they gotta pay lip service to, we need to stop the youth. Because I remember Governor Hochul said some shit about that when there was like in 1 week, like two or three murders of youth throughout the state, right? That had got attention, that got some real statewide attention, and she came out, this is an epidemic and it needs to be changed, and nothing fucking happened. Let's be real, bro. Like, they don't care about us and they don't care about our community. So what I did with UFD was say, look, we need to start looking at what we can do collectively because we have the resources. I mean, damn, statistically, they say that black people are worth over $1 trillion in America. That we spend so much money. We spend more money in America than the GDP of certain small countries. Like, I mean, damn, as a community of people, we spend more money than the GDPA or the GDA, gross domestic, the GDP, there you go, gross domestic product of some countries in the world. If that's the case, we don't really need to go through the government for the resources in order to clean up our communities. What we need to do is organize ourselves economically,
exactly,
and politically. But how do we do that?
You can't organize yourself politically first without economics, without the money first, basically. Let's say in plain English. Without the money, there ain't no politics. That's why I be telling brother, this is why I be telling people, not to interrupt your wisdom, but I be hustling every day, right? Well, almost every day. And I'll be on the train hustling, and I'll be on my Tony Robbins shit. I'll be talking to people about financial education and how we should not depend on government. You could vote all you want. That's okay. But there has to be some money action taken. Like, you cannot depend on the government to you as an individual person that works a 9 to 5. And your boss is not giving you that much money, or you're not getting paid that much money, and your rent is up. You know what I'm saying? Your rent don't match your wages or whatever. You cannot depend on the government for that. That's on you. That's not the government's job. I mean, the government can lie to you all they want, and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this for housing, or we're gonna make sure, or we're gonna make sure we have affordable housing, blah 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 blah. No, or we're gonna make sure that wages are up. No, and I tell people in the train, stop depending on these politicians. Like you said, if you ain't got the foundational money, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. You could be a skeleton before politicians can help you with your financial life. You got to build up financial life first. Then you could talk about getting into a political thing, talking about connecting with politicians. You know what I mean? Like, but for now, you're just a regular working class person, because working class people, especially working class brown skinned people, we're not, listen, we in the bottom of the barrel. We ain't got no say so like that.
No, we don't. And that right there is pretty much the point that we have to keep hammering home. I was just on a live with 3 other brothers who somewhat understand the thing. I'm like, yo, look, this is my call to action. And this is my call to action to you and any of your viewers who watch this. Let's start a black investment firm. I don't need but only 1,000 motherfuckers, a part of my language, 1,000 people, black people, who are bosses, to sit at the round table and be willing to put up a minimum of $1,000 a piece. And I'll be the first to put my money up to create a corporation, an investment firm that will raise capital for the purposes of investing in small black businesses and helping those businesses scale. That's it. I'm talking about creating our own version of a Black Shark Tank, where we can bring black entrepreneurs who have good ideas, who are working to produce numbers, who deserve a shot but just don't have access to capital. That's what I want to do.
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it. Let's do it. You're talking about being like a BlackRock. For those who don't know, BlackRock is the what's it, an investment firm, right? From that's owned by Goldman Sachs. Basically, I'm not familiar with I believe it's a management it's a money management company. Okay. And Ray Dalio, I forgot the name of his company, but Ray Dalio, since you're talking about that, Ray Dalio, who's a white guy, he's been into managing hedge funds for maybe over 30 years. He's been doing it for mad motherfucking years. You know what I'm saying? He's a good dude to talk to, not to talk to, but of course you can't talk to Ray Dalio. They can't call him on the phone, but he's a good dude to look at as far as his videos, his interviews and all that, to see where the economy is going and to learn about money in general. You know? Ray Dalio. But
I'm looking up this BlackRock thing you was talking. This is the first time it's an investment management company started in 2023. Wow. Packed a full gambit of investor emotion as early share gave way to fear or stubbornly high inflation, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to read up on this to see what they're talking about. Funds that match up with investment goals and preferences. Each investor has a different story, and we are steadfast partners to our clients in the U.S. because we listen to every one of them. Our full range of funds is one way we're helping more investors build solid financial futures. This is dope. And it doesn't seem like it's black oriented, but I don't see.
No, I'm not saying y'all could be the BlackRock. I was just kidding. The BlackRock, because it's white owned. So I was like, y'all could be the BlackRock, and I'll probably like to be a part of that too, because I've been thriving to be a part of a group of people, a group of brothers or sisters that's not just talking about the life, that is about that life, you know?
Right.
It is about that life, man. You got to be about it, because there's so many brothers and sisters that be online faking that Black Wall Street shit. I had a previous episode about this, how you have some brothers and sisters that talk that Black Wall Street life, but they're not really about that life. Because how come I'm trying to connect with you or your organization and I'm talking to a robot? You call yourself a black, and you look at these black banks, you call yourself a black bank, but I can't talk to a brother or a sister. You talk about all this black shit, Black Wall Street, Greenwood, let's get together. Yeah, black businesses, blah, blah, blah. But I can't talk to a black on the phone about anything simple, or let's say I can't get into my account. What is this? This ain't no real black shit.
And a lot of times, man, it just be, unfortunately, a bunch of nonsense and bull crap that, because I ain't gonna lie, what it is, and this is like kind of the problem I've noticed, and what I was trying to hint to when I was on this live earlier with these brothers, is that we're in competition with each other, bro. Like we on some shit where, like, I'm trying to do better than you, or like one brother, he said on the live, I didn't want to like call him out on it, like on his live, because it was his live, but he had said, yo, I ain't trying to give up part of my business. And I understood what he was saying, because he was saying, I wouldn't want to give up part of my business to somebody the way serious. But I'm like, yo, brother, we on this live. You're on this live with 3 other serious black men, one of which actually purchased your product. So it's like, we got to stop with always entering the narrative that, yo, yeah, if I do this with these dudes, man, I'm not going to have control of my shit.
Yeah, but doesn't he has his own situation? What was I talking about? Coming together.
He owns his S corporation, but my thing is, with these people who society realizes is that incorporation and conglomeration are necessary. So if you start a corporation, right, most companies are working to become public, right?
Yeah.
To offer what they call it,
IPO.
IPO, initial price offering, I think.
Yeah.
Right. They want to take their company public because they know that's how you're going to bring in a large infusion of capital to expand the business to another stratosphere. Now that is the traditional and the normal pathway that you want to go to do scale your business to tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, because you're going to need that large infusion. But it requires giving up equity. You know what I'm saying? That in Black people, we don't seem to get that. Now, there's some private corporations that can scale up that way because they got private funding. I'm sure you know about it because you seem very well in tune with these things. But my point is that for Black people, we don't really have that, right? And some of our rich celebrities that do have the capacity to invest are not going to just invest their money in some bullshit. Now, I feel like if we can come together, those of us on a grassroots level, like you and I, others who understand this, right, that we can create such a movement that now more affluent Black people who got a little bit of bread will want to now invest. Hey, I want to buy some stocks in this real Black Wall Street. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna check to see whether or not there is anybody who owns the trademark to that concept, because we should start a corporation that is really the real Black Wall Street, instead of these assholes that are running around here talking about Black Wall Street, but they still dealing with ABE shit. Like, we not, like, come on, it's 2023. There should at least be one major Black-owned money management firm that is, managing money in the hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, at minimum. I'm saying at minimum because we have Black billionaires, and we should already have these type of financial firms, Black-owned financial firms that are invested in Black businesses and are creating Black jobs and Black communities that are dealing in the billions, and also trading with other countries, especially countries in Africa. Like, this has been my vision since I've been, since I've been conscious and understanding what's going on in this world. But it's like, damn, getting Black people to really take hold of this idea and move in that direction has been the hardest thing.
It's the hardest thing. That's why it can't. If you're gonna form a group like that, it has to be no more than 5 brothers, no more than 2 brothers, no more than 3 sisters, whatever.
That's the thing. Unfortunately, that's not gonna work because we need the money. See, my best example of what I'm talking about, right, is Marcus Garvey and the UNIA.
Okay.
Right? The UNIA, through their African Communities League, right, which was their financial and business division, the African Financial League. They're the ones who had all the businesses that was owned by the UNIA. This is kind of a similar structure that UFD has with our LLC, Conscious Money Enterprises. We have a UFD owns Conscious Money Enterprises LLC, right? Conscious Money Enterprises LLC is supposed to be what it is. I'm telling you, it's that financial and business division meant specifically to amass the capital for investment in the businesses, the abilities, the talents, and skills of our members, right? So what he did was he was able to sell penny stock. This was in the early 1900s. It was like 1916, 1918, right? So the Black Star Line, which was a Black-owned shipping company, through the African Communities League, was able to issue stock, penny stock, to Black people who bought the stock just because they just wanted to see a Black institution do well. And because of the money they were able to amass, they started buying ships. The idea at that time Marcus Garvey had was to, transport Black people back to Africa. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that now because I feel like we helped build this nation. So a good proportion of this belongs to us, right? I ain't going back.
And then just not to cut your wisdom. Now, me being the fact that most of my family's from Africa, but I was born here. I study a lot of I study a lot of American history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not even sure that all black people come from Africa. I'm getting the notion that you already had black people already here in America in the beginning of humanity. Since the beginning of humans, you know what I mean? And then you had black people in Africa, Asia, Australia.
Watch this out for me. Get that cup over this party, brother.
Yeah.
My kids are in my office with me. I need to take care of something. But continue talking. I hear you.
Yeah. So I'm beginning to think that there was already black people here in America, in North and South America, since the beginning of humanity. And then you have black people in Africa, Australia,
no, there's
Asia.
Actual evidence of that. You know, there is anthropological evidence to support what you're saying. So, you know, I'm not one of those individuals you have to really tell on that.
Yeah.
You know I do live in 2023, and my main concern now is with trying to ensure that black people in 2023 are able to advance ourselves so that, you know, we don't continue to be the victims of other groups because we don't have the economic nor social or political power to defend ourselves and protect our rights. But I agree with you, though. I am quite familiar with the history. So being in prison gave me a lot of time to read and study, and there's definitely archaeological evidence to support what you're saying. I'm talking about actual, you know, mounds and finds, you know, shit that can't be explained. Why is it that certain statues that have been found, you know, have what they call negroid features, etc. So all the way to even the Orient, where you have like black Asians and like black people populated the entire world.
We original people. That's why we're the original people. Like, because it makes sense. I mean, the planet Earth is a melanated planet, so it makes sense that the first people of this planet is even the animals, the other creatures are melanated.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know.
Yeah. So I just want to, and I agree with you. I just wanted to get back to the point that
of course.
Is that you know, Marcus Garvey has shown and proved that you know, you can get black people together to start purchasing stock in their corporation. They still penny stock, even though the Feds used what he was doing as a way of having him incarcerated, because I guess there was some fraud going on, and it didn't all have to do with Marcus Garvey. It had a lot to do with the people that he had trusted to assist him with developing his vision. And, you know, they did some stuff they wasn't supposed to. Open the door. They did some stuff that they weren't supposed to, and because he was the president of the corporation, he was the one that kind of he was the fall guy. But my point is, I don't see why we can't do the same thing. I mean, if black people are so concerned about, like, oh, I don't want to give money to this, like, yo, make an investment. Like, you get your money back. I mean, you want to invest $10, $15 in this corporation? Cool. There was a brother down in Brooklyn who wanted to do something similar. He started this corporation called Black Wall Street. I was still incarcerated at the time when I came across him, and I'm like, yo, this shit is, you know, what you're trying to do is fire. Like, I want to be involved in this. You know, let me help you out. Let me be a part of your team. And he was with it. But his mistake was he had a bunch of church people in the community that were involved as well, and they took the whole concept that he was trying to create to a whole different level. And I explained to him, I said that the methodology that you wanted to do, I had some, you know, rudimentary research that I was able to do in prison about the type of method that he was trying to implement. And I said, yo, historically it never worked. I said, what you're trying to do is sound, but the method by which you're trying to achieve it is not going to work. He didn't want to listen to me. See, this is one of those. This is an example, respectfully, of the H&I-C syndrome, the head Negro in charge. It's my idea. I want to see my idea come into fruition because I know it's going to come into fruition. And you're not looking at the data. Look at the data. Look at the facts. Read the evidence. Do the knowledge, man. What you trying to do, people have done it, and it failed. What makes you think you're going to be able to do any different? Oh, because your ego doesn't. It's not going to dictate how the people are going to respond and react to this issue. We're dealing with a whole different dynamic out here. We're dealing with a bunch of. You got to know your demographic. You got to know the people. You got to talk to people. You got to find out what it is that it's going to take to get them to engage in this process with you.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to do that. He just assumed because his idea sounded great to him that everybody else was going to, be on board. So he got all these people together, mostly church-going people, and they basically took his little corporation and went somewhere else with it. So, like, after like a month or two or 3 of me communicating with him, I'm like, yo, what's going on with your corporation? He's like, man, yeah, brother, you didn't want to listen to the nigga in jail. You wanted to go to those well-to-do church folk, right? Respectfully, they not trying to make no waves, bro.
Now, most church brown folks are passive.
Yes, and that's what he found out. They did some shit where they was like doing like community events and renting buses to go on trips and stuff like that to raise money. I'm like, yo, what? That's Black Wall Street? Nah, bro. All I want is for Black people to join into a brotherhood who just a fraction of your money. If you're willing to pay these white people all this money for all these clothes and, all the weaves and all this other shit, I'm asking for $50 a month. If I can get 1,000 people or even 10,000 Black people across the country, and that shouldn't be hard to do. We're 40 million strong in this country. You mean to tell me I can't find 10,000 Black people that will believe in this vision? And all I need for you to do is just invest $50. That's it. I get 10,000 Black people to do that's $500,000. Now you got a little bit of skin in the game. Now we can, kind of like when you got money, you can make money. When you got money coming in, you can make money. $50 a month is not a lot of money. Not a lot of bread at all. I spend more than that in a day. Most days. You see what I'm saying? And that being the case, let's pool our resources, just that. And you give me $50, buy a share of this corporation, this company, whatever, and that would allow for me to finance the work or businesses of other people that look like us to create jobs in our community. And not only that, to create more prestige that we need that's going to help us influence public policy. That's all I need. I don't need people to donate no crazy amount of money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I'm UFD. That's my fraternity. That's my brotherhood. That's my sisterhood. People can be a part of it if they want to join it and help out and spread the message. But this is just a fraternity, bro. It ain't nothing mysterious about this shit. You know what I'm saying? And with the resources that we can amass together in order to bring about change in our community, I can guarantee you if people follow behind this vision, we're all going to make bread. And not only are we going to make bread, we're going to shake up the whole political institution in America to the point where these people will have to come to us to ask us, what is the interest of Black people? Because we will represent it. Because our unity, this is what people like Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad through the Nation of Islam, Yahweh Ben Yahweh with his thing, the New Moravian Nation, and all these other Black organizations have proven. But we've lost sight of that history. We've lost sight of the power of organizing in those bands. Those organizations, they kind of got pushed off to the side. Nobody wanted to talk about them. Nobody, wanted to, show how these organizations were actually much more effective at bringing about change because they had the bag. The only people we heard about was like Martin Luther King and CORE and we didn't hear about those organizations that was actually putting in the grind, right? Grind ethic.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
We wasn't hearing about them organizations like that. We just hear about the rhetoric, the rhetoric Christians that was, I got respect for Martin Luther King, what he did, and towards the end of his life, I think he understood the importance of economic struggle because he said it in one of his speeches, and that might have been the reason why he got killed. They didn't really want him to shift from that passive talk to that more going to inspire Black people and poor people in general to now start to focus on the bag. You get too many of them focused on the bag on the level that these people are focusing on. It's the threat. It might be the number one threat to national security if you get a movement of Black people, especially young Black people, working together to help each other to compete with white America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. White America's already in hot water. What do you think about this whole situation about America no longer, about the U.S. dollar no longer being the global or the universal currency, and China and Brazil and Russia coming together, and these other countries coming together, bringing something called a BRIC. It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, the BRIC, and South Africa.
I've been hearing about it, and it is concerning to say the least. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's a lot of people who are promoting this doomsday.
Nah,
I don't believe it's that serious, but I do believe America economically, its economic dominance in the world is now in peril. And I mean, serves America right. And I think that now Black people and other people in this country who've been relying upon America's super exploitation of everyone else in the world, for why prices have been real low, are now going to really start to feel it. Now it's going to come to the point where you're going to have to start to be involved in, organization and working together collectively in order to make ends meet. Because the days of I can just do it myself because there's so many opportunities in America are going to dwindle.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
I feel like if the economy in this country starts to get squeezed because of what's happened with the American dollar, Black people in this country, especially those affluent Black people who thought that white people that they were working with were cool, we're going to see a rise in white nationalism. We're going to see that they're going to gain a lot of political traction. And because, damn, the economy, let's see what happens when there's economic strife in this country or any country. There's going to be a larger diversification of the word that I'm using. I don't want to say it that way because there's going to be much more stratification in this country. It's going to be dividing lines. And they're going to be sharp and clear, like that gray middle, that gray area, or the centrist that, all these people who kind of been the dominant, voice in this country that's always like, we're not too liberal, we're not too conservative. You're going to see those lines sharply divide. And
exactly.
You're going to see people who are going to get in one camp or the other, and it's going to get nasty. I won't even say there's going to be any real major wars in the country. The world, but there's definitely going to be some civil unrest in this country. And people they're going to see how American America really is.
Yeah, I see that I see the decline of the American dollar as the rise of us. Well, when I say us, I'm talking about people who are like us. I don't think listen. I don't think all of our brothers and sisters are gonna make it because they're so dependent on their system. So I think people like me and you and people like Africa Town. I need to tell you about Africa Town, but I think the downfall of the dollar is gonna be the rise of us, because we're gonna take that dollar and flip it. Like, you already talking about flipping money. I talk about flipping money all day, every day. You know what I mean? Like, the people, because and this is what I talk about in the previous episode, right? And I don't mean to go all over the place, but I be telling people while I'm outside, preaching to the people. You know what I mean? Like how you be speaking to the people outside, I speak to the people too. And I'm telling them, I tell them the wrong rules that we was taught to play the game. Number one rule, well, not in order, but one of the fake rules or the wrong rules that we were taught to play the money game is stack up your money, son. Stack up your money just to stack up, or stack up thousands of dollars just to look at it. No, stack to invest. You're talking about defense. You can't win a game with just defense alone. You need offense. Defense is the saving of the money, right? Investing the money is the offense, and the profit is the score. It's the touchdown, the whatever, the home run, whatever. You got to see it like that. It's not stacking the money to stack up. Another fake rule that we was taught to play the game. I got caught up in this. The two fake rules, right? Another fake rule, right? See how much money you can make by abusing your body. Yo, I'm gonna do this overtime, son. I'm gonna do the 16 hours and bounce and make more money. And no, it's not. And because me, I'm self-employed, right? I walk around and I sell basic things that people need: socks, underwear, boxes, whatever, right? T-shirts, whatever, right? And people to this day still tell me go get a regular job. But my brother, I'm only out here 5 hours, 6 hours. I make my little money, and I flip my money in other situations where I don't have to work for it, so I can save my energy.
Right.
So it's not about playing that game of. See, I used to play that game too, because even the self-employed hustlers, because I learned how to hustle in Harlem, and New York City is known for street hustlers, vendors, whatever, blah blah. So I was in that world, a part of that culture of, yeah, let's get that money, son. 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 Yeah. No times off, no sleep, blah blah. 7 days a week. Even my man who used to sell chronic 7 days a week was like, yo, you better work on the weekends. If anything, take half a day on the weekends. But us hustlers, we work 7 days a week. No, man. Money is so much. It's not worth it to break your back for this money shit no more. It's not worth it. It's better to flip it. Like how you talking about it. Those are the wrong rules, man. First of all, we gotta debunk those rules. We gotta because I try to deprogram as many people as I can. I can't save everybody, and I'm not trying to, because I got my own life to live. So sometimes I feel frustrated trying to put the people on, and I'm like, yo, Victory, relax. You can't save everybody, right. And you got your own life to live. You know what I mean? Right. You know what you're doing. So but my whole thing is debunk. We got to destroy those rules, debunk those two rules: stacking up money and you can only be financially successful if you abuse your body. No, that's some slavery shit. You see how slavery still exists in America, my brother? It didn't go nowhere. It just took a whole nother form. We have to stop thinking that slavery. We have to acknowledge the fact that slavery never was over. It just took up a whole nother uniform. That's it. A whole nother uniform. That's it. But I'm not trying to debate with people on this subject. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. I got things to do. I'm not debating. I'm not trying to waste my energy talking to a person who just doubt whatever. I'm not wasting my energy arguing all day. You do what you do. You float with this economy when shit hits the fan. Right. You know what I mean? You go abuse your body all you want. I'm good. Because too many of our people still trust this government. Even people that be on that Black Lives Matter shit all day. Because a lot of people that be on that Black Lives Matter shit, listen, they don't. Black lives only matter to a lot of our people when somebody gets killed by a police officer or beaten by a police officer. But what about the kids selling waters or grown folks selling waters in these protests and black people not buying waters from these motherfuckers? Right. Why don't Black Lives Matter though? See, people forget the economic part of that. What about the economic part of that statement? If Black Lives Matter, but what about economics? That's a big part of it, of Black Lives Matter. As far as the phrase, not the organization, but as far as the whole phrase.
Pays attention to that, bro. It's like it's the saddest thing, and it's frustrating as hell to me because
it's frustrating to me too.
Like we all talk about money. This, a lot of people talk about money, but they don't really know how to go get it. Like what you saying, everything you saying is absolutely.
They don't know how to go get it. They just know how to abuse their body to get it. And I tell brothers and sisters, you don't have to stop relying on your body to make money. First of all, the money is going down in value. Your wages is is going down in value as well. So it's not worth depending on your body. I mean, keep your job if you have to. You do what you got to do. But take some of that working money and flip it in situations where you don't have to spend too much money, too much time, or no time at all. So this is where you're thriving off your back. Because our brothers and sisters don't understand that everybody's thriving off our backs but us. You got your bill collector thriving off your back. Your job thriving off your back. Louis Vuitton, all these people that you buy from so you can look good. They thriving off your back. And it's okay, but you're not driving off your back. Everybody's driving off of your back, but you. There's something wrong with that. That's why I don't want to hear no black folk talking that conventional wisdom like, go get a job, go back to college, go get a solid job. But what a solid job gonna do for all of us as a collective? At least if you as an entrepreneur, there's a chance of you doing a whole lot for the collective compared to being an employee. Let's say if you're a social worker, it's not, and you love helping people or whatever. It's not so much you could do as a social worker. You get fired if you go beyond.
That's a fact. That's crazy because I mentor at-risk youth in the community, and I was working with an organization for youth, and I'm not gonna lie. The rules, policies, and stuff actually prevent you from being effective at helping these kids. The dude I was working for, turned out to be, not the best individual in the world in terms of his, willingness and desire to help these kids. And, his willingness to go above and beyond the call of duty for these kids. He was a snake, for lack of a better term. And I think that he was just using these kids as a means of getting his little grant money that was put money in his pocket. He's lining his pocket with that shit. And but he wasn't effective. When he saw that I had influence over these kids, I had the ability to lead them in a different direction, man, he got rid of me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I was doing, I come from the streets. You know what I'm saying? I spent almost 25 years in prison from the time I was 17. I didn't have a traditional way of being able to approach the problem of at-risk youth in this community. These kids, they're little wolves. My two sons that are here right now, all they want to they play gangbangers. And these two little dudes is not even that tough. They think they are, but they not. You know what I'm saying? I've been around kids that are much more scarier. But that's what they all want to do. They all want to wear shiesties and talk about where my dad and, where the dead homies and all this other nonsense because their love was infatuated with gang culture, gang slang, gang handshakes and stuff like that because they think it's cute. So how do you reach kids like that? You gonna put your foot around with them? You think these kids is gonna open up to you the way that the good kids would? Nah, you gotta get rough and tumble. You gotta meet them where they're at. And this is something that these people didn't understand. So it led to me getting into a lot of trouble. They even sent me to jail for 21 days for feeding my one son. That's here with me now. His mother at first, she was on hots with me. She was like, they saying this, they saying that, they saying this, they saying that. And never once did she ever sit down and talk to me. So she allowed for them to convince her that I was, I don't know, I guess Michael Myers. I guess that's the best analogy. And she ended up going to family court and getting a legal order of protection against me to stay away from her son. And I violated it. He called me one day and said he was hungry. I need something to eat. He wanted money to go get something to eat. I know he wanted to probably use the money to go get some weed. I mean, he's 12 years old. I know he wanted to go get some blood, 12-year-old. So I'm like, nah, I'll go take you to go get something to eat. So I did that. So because of that one act, I ended up spending 21 days in jail until I was able to convince the judge who issued the temporary order of protection that she did so illegally. Once I to the point now, like I'm a father to him. You know what I'm saying? I have no biological kids, but I got a few of them that I consider my children.
Okay.
That's that unconventional shit we're talking about. That's what you was talking about, like when you follow the rules and stay within the structure, they don't want you to develop that type of relationship with the kids because for them they think that's dangerous. It's dangerous because the influence that it gives you over these kids is at a whole nother level. They don't, for whatever reason, they don't want that. I don't know why they don't. So my thing is, I need to find the best way to get to these kids and help them understand their value. And the institutions that are in place now to do that are not helping.
They're not helping.
No.
They're not helping. Especially the public school system. Forget about it. That's a pipeline for the prison system. I'll be, you know what I mean? And that's another one thing I'm going to debate about because listen, man. Listen, I grew up with kids that been in and out of Spofford. You know what I'm saying? Back then it was called Spofford. You know what I mean? And it was crazy. And I'm like, yo, even as a kid going to elementary, junior high school, I'm like, yo, this looks just like a goddamn jail. This is not really. I feel funny about this place. Even when I was a kid, like, nah. You know what I mean? It's all just when we think that there's institutions out here that's supposed to help the kids. Really, it's really to send the kids to a place where the parents don't want the kids to go. The school system ain't helping the kids. First of all, the kids talking about money. They need money for clothes, food, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And the school system is not providing them for that. Right now, if I'm in elementary, junior high school, and I'm selling candy, or I'm selling socks, or I'm trying to sell shirts to the teachers, I'll probably get suspended. But I thought going to school, the whole point of going to school was to prepare me for the money world, right? Not exactly. They're not going to teach you how to invest. They're not going to teach you how to make the money. They're not going to teach you how to manage the money. They're just going to teach you how to work like a slave for it. That's it. That's what the school system is based on. That's why I hate the public school system. It's a junior jail system. I'm glad I didn't go to prison. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it really is. But that's what it really is. That's what it really is. You got representatives from different prisons going to different schools to determine what kids or how many kids or estimating how many kids are actually going to go through the pipeline. Right. So school is part of the problem. It's the biggest part of the problem, and we have to talk about that and acknowledge that. Parents and grown folks or grown folks in general that defend the school system gotta acknowledge the fact that the school system is part of the problem. It's not helping the kids at all. It's not.
I'm not gonna lie, it just be like too much with this the whole system and trying to figure out the best way to navigate around it while doing what we can in order to empower our people. And I'm just in that business. That's my space. Trying to figure that out. And it's been hard because you need a team of people, man, to really be effective. Like, and not a lot of people are on the same type of time that we on. And then we do have people who are on the same type of time with us. Like, I don't know why it becomes difficult for us to work together. I don't know why, but
it's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors. That's why I said, it's all about, finding like-minded people is a grind within itself. It's a grind within itself because too many of our people are programmed by the system. It's really a spell that we under, that most of us is under. See, I had to deprogram myself. You know what I'm saying? We all some of us had to deprogram ourselves through learning or through being around a certain type of people. Or being around the right people, but it's hard to deprogram yourself when you're waking up, going to some job that you hate. You know what I mean? You're tired while you're tired waking up to go to the job. You're tired You know what I'm saying? While going to the job, you're tired while working the job, and you're tired coming back home for the job. So that's two type of tired's. Well, that's most people. I wouldn't say that's everybody. You know what I mean? But come on, with me, when I was in that world, I was tired 4 different type of times. You know, 4 stages of tiredness. Like, and you're not, and a lot of us don't. We don't have the ambition to uplift. Yeah, we be like, yeah. But then we like, oh, I got to go back to work Monday, and then it drains us out. That workforce shit, it drains us out. It's good, and it's pros and cons to working to working within the workforce. You know, your job, first of all, is always your first investor. That's one good thing, you know. The bad thing is the slave part about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why I'm not in that world no more. And if I can help it, I'm not trying to go back to that world.
Right.
And if anything, I'm helping people that's in that world. You know, I tell people, yo, listen, if you have to keep your job, keep it. My situation is different. I don't have to have a 9 to 5 to make a living or whatever. My situation is a little different. But if you have to keep your job, keep it, but don't rely on just a job. Just don't rely on that. Because everybody's, like I say, is thriving off you but you. You know? If you're gonna keep your job, you know what I'm saying, think like a pimp. Be like, yo, I'm gonna pimp this job. Like next year, 2 years, and I'm out. Don't think about, you know what I mean? Instead of you being the ones that being pimped.
Check this shit out. It was a lady. I think one of the reasons why, because I've been looking for a second job. What I do is I'll take on a second job, get the money, invest in something that I'm doing, like the equipment I bought and the office space I have and stuff like that, right? And then I'll move on. So I'm looking for a second job for that reason. But I'm like super unmotivated to really get a second job. I really don't need it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you said, I'm pimping. Right? But I was thinking that these people like kind of instinctually know what I'm doing, because every time it's like, you know, I guess maybe it's my swagger screams boss. Now, he ain't trying to work for nobody for no long period of time, you know? So she was talking to me about 401ks. I'm like, yeah, right, okay. You can see I'm totally uninterested. What I look like working for your company for 20, 30 years to get a 401k or some type of retirement package where I can make that money in less than 5 years by doing what I'm doing as an entrepreneur. It makes no sense. Like, so it's like, I think these people kind of instinctually see me coming. They're like, he's not going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah.
Because he's doing too much. Like, I enter into these job interviews when they ask me, like, what's your qualification? Because I've been looking for management jobs, right? I said, I run my own company. So, you know, I run a LLC. You know, so I'm more than qualified. So they're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, like, how long are you really going to be here? Like, once your business take off on the ground, we know what you're doing, because we are entrepreneurs too. You know what I'm saying? We need workers. We don't need entrepreneurs, you know? You're here to pimp the job, and then you're gone. You know what I'm saying? We need the people, as you say, that we can have slave force for the long haul. And it's been kind of difficult finding that extra work, but I haven't been worried about it. But it goes to show that what you're saying is absolutely correct. Damn, 5 people from California looked at my website. That's dope.
But yeah, it's just not. I mean, everybody's different, man. Everybody's different, man. Oh yeah, let's talk about the music side of the organization, the music side, and the podcast side, because you got your. But first, let's start with the music.
Okay.
So how's that going?
It's going good, man. I don't know if you would be able to hear.
Yeah, you was talking about a 13-year-old kid on a live. That's really nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's not managed by me. He's just one of the kids in my community that I'm supporting. His name is King Bar, the superstar. But I got my own little 13-year-old son that's here now, he just made a little song. Him and my 17-year-old, they want to make a song, and we're in the studio right now. But I had to kind of stop everything to do this because I did promise you that I was gonna participate. But he I had to start rapping myself. You know, I'm not a rapper, not my thing. It's not what I'm into. That's not my strong suit. But I started getting into it because I had a few young people who I was managing as artists. My whole thing was, what can I do to help them, you know, become successful? Because they're stars. These kids are stars. But the problem was that they didn't want to put in the work.
Oh, damn.
And that was that. It was becoming frustrating because it's like, I'm trying to tell you guys what needs to be done in order for you to be successful at this. And it's like hemming and hawing. You hemming and hawing. And I just got fed up with it. So I've had some, you know, falling outs with a couple of them. And it just led to this situation where it's like, you know, some of you want to, you know, not show up for rehearsals and all that. So you know what? We got a paid show that we're doing in Ohio on the 8th. I'll be damned if I'm going to, after I spent all this money promoting this event, getting everything set up, then I have to pay to get y'all down there. But y'all don't want to show the seriousness by putting in the work to really to rehearse, and so that when we get there, you know, we can put on a show and, you know, blow it so much out the park that people be like, yo, we want to see them. We're gonna pay to see these guys. We want them to come back. That was dope. We like that show. We like the energy. They can entertain. So I'm like, yo, I would be a fool to let you come and make a mockery out of what I'm doing. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna teach you guys in a different way. First, you're not going. That's one. Two, I'm gonna take the headliner spot, and I'm not the rapper. And I started writing songs, and I got 4 full songs done. 2 of them I mixed myself. I'm still learning, so the mixes are not perfect, but the quality of those songs is, in comparison to other people, are, you know, very good. And I'm working on the 5th song now, and I'm gonna put these songs into an EP called Father Figure. You know, because that's basically what I've been doing. Like, most of the music that I've been doing is a reflection of the work I've been doing in the community as a father figure, as a mentor, as a big brother, and the struggles that I've been going through and trying to help some of these kids dealing with some of the treachery and some of the backstabbing, the betrayals. Like, it's been crazy. Like, you know, people will bite the hand that feeds them, and not really appreciate the value of the support and assistance they're getting. And their egos make them think that now, after I've gotten it to a certain point, that they can just go on. I'm just do it on my own. All right, copy. Go ahead. See how far you get with that. Because if you were able to do it on your own, you wouldn't need me in the first place.
Exactly.
So I decided. So I started rapping, and I'm doing pretty good. I think, you know, I've gotten some good reviews. I'm like I said, I'm not a rapper, so I ain't super nice, but I'm holding my own, and I can definitely perform. So that's been something I've been doing as a one, to bring awareness to the work that I'm doing with the youth, and 2, to set an example for them. This is how you grind. I'm not as good as you, but I guarantee you I'll be quicker. I'm going to be quicker to make money off of what I'm doing than you, because of the way I'm willing to grind.
Exactly. Yup. It's not all about the talent. That's what we telling these artists. And we can actually create our own music business, like, for real. Like, it could be create like how you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we could create our own solidify our own business. I mean, right now the music business is kind of like all over the place because of streaming, and the record labels are trying to collect themselves, even though they kind of like did some underhanded shit and bought into Spotify, and they ranking, they rigging numbers and shit like that. But they don't know what the fuck to do, really. A lot of them are like on their couple of threads. So it's like, yo, man, The music business right now is the wild, wild west. It could be about anything. You got people blowing up on TikTok, making money off of TikTok.
So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to do content creation, but I just read a post that somebody said that Facebook, Instagram is not going to pay people for reals anymore. But
well, yeah, I heard about that. They never paid me anyway, but I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
They violated.
And they talking about blue chip, the blue chip shit.
Yeah.
The blue check, but I think it's called blue check, where you could where you pay $12 a month, and all your followers could see you, huh?
All your followers can see you.
See your posts. See your posts, and you have like protection from hackers, and other stuff, whatever. But I don't know about all that. Facebook, and Instagram. You talk about racism. Social media is racist. Okay, they program them robots to be racist. Because I can't even. It's the truth.
That's just crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I put a post up and said, yo, you can't beat them, join them. So I'd rather be ahead of the curve than behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a hustler, bro. So at the end of the day, man, I'm a hustler.
Yeah, of course.
They create opportunities like they're gonna put up barriers one way, we're gonna have to figure out a way around it.
When life throw you lemons, make lemonade and sell the lemonade. But yo, my brother, man, thank you for being on the Grind Ethiks Mixtape Show. Yo, we gotta work together on behind the scene type of shit. Huh?
You do reviews of music?
I review music, yeah.
I'm gonna send you my latest drop.
Yeah, definitely do that, man. Do that.
Matter of fact, you can look it up. It's on YouTube. It's you might as well plug it, right?
Yeah.
It's called the UFD Beatbox Freestyle. That's my first ever song that I did completely myself from production to distribution. I did the mix. It's not the best mix in the world, but it's mine. You heard, and I'm proud of it. It's out there on all platforms. If people stream it, the more people that stream it, the better. You know what I'm saying? Any proceeds I get from it is going to be used to continue funding to help these kids in the community. So, you know, even if you don't like it, just stream it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Listen to it. You can critique me, hit me up. So, you know. And for you, my brother, I appreciate it if you would do a review of it. Be honest about your critique. You know what I'm saying? Just keep in mind, as a disclaimer, just let people know, man, like, this first time, he's 43, did wild time in prison, came out here trying to rap to bring awareness to the work that he's doing with these kids. And also, set the example to them as, of a person who's grinding. Like, it may not be the best, but we're going to check it out anyway. That's all I ask as a disclaimer. I'm not sitting here trying to pretend like this is my field. It's not my field. I am not a hip hop artist. But if it's going to help me bring attention to the work I'm doing and possibly generate some money, because the song is not bad. The lyrics is fire. Like, I think you're gonna like the last part of it because it's about what we talk about.
Of course. Of course, man.
Give me a heads up when you're gonna do it so I can promote it.
What you say? I'm sorry.
I said whenever you decide.
Okay.
To review the song, let me know ahead of time so I can promote it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yo, where can people reach you at, man? Shout out your media sites, your social media sites.
You can reach me at Gorilla Father Sikivu. That's Gorilla with GUERILLA, Father FATHER, Sikivu SIKIVU. And I'm also in Family Sikivu Speak. Or Family Speak, MFALMES, SPEAKER. So I think I messed up that. It's and Family Speak, MFALMESPEAKS. Family Speak. We also have Trust Money Love on Instagram. Dante S. Mitchell on Facebook. They can reach out to us through our website, www.utfd.org. www.ufdeez.org to learn a little bit more about UFD and our organization. And just hit me up, man. Anybody got any questions, comments, whatever, holla at me.
Yeah, definitely. Yo, thank you, my king, for being on the show, man.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, bro. It was my pleasure. Apologies for the runaround.
That's all good.
All right.
Peace.